Hello everyone, this is Erik, the Asian movie enthusiast, and this is my review of Encounter of the Spooky Kind 2, a Hong Kong action horror movie from 1989 that stars Sammo Hung. I reviewed the first film in this franchise just last week, so I wanted to revisit the sequel again and remember how it compares. This is not a direct sequel, and it has a different story as well. So we have a tea house worker and martial arts student, Abao, played by Sammo Hung, and he's to be married to his boss's daughter, Little Chu. And Abao fights to protect her from the advances of the wealthy Master Shi. The two men's romantic rivalry escalates into a full-scale supernatural battle after Shi enlists the help of a wicked sorcerer, and Abao encounters a benevolent female ghost. Now, the opening scene involves Sammo and his girl who are being chased by a mob of people who want to take the woman away from him. Ching-ying immediately shows up and hides him in a haunted house. Now, this opening set piece is similar in some ways to the first big set piece of the last film. You know, it's basically Sammo in a house evading an evil entity. And the opening set piece here is quite long, and it has some spookiness to it, which should be expected given the title of the film. Now, this hopping corpse or vampire stalks our protagonists within the building, but in this case, there are some oddball interactions and black humor infused in terms of how they distract the vampire from attacking. And the ghouls in this scene have more of a personality compared to many other hopping corpse or hopping vampire movies with some human-like personality traits. I won't spoil what those are exactly, but this is a very nice opening set piece, I think. It's very good. Now, unlike the first Encounter of the Spooky Kind film, Sammo's character here actually has a decent idea of how to engage with these supernatural beings right from the start of the film. Of course, he eventually seeks guidance when becoming overwhelmed or deceived by the bad guys. Sammo is also a little bit more aggressive in this, even to a fault. He actually forces a confrontation with a lady ghost at night, even though the ghost does not seem to be evil or dangerous. I mean, she does scam him out of a bowl of rice porridge, but, sometimes you gotta let things slide. But in any case, she contributes to the most significant subplot of the movie, the lady ghost, and she's a pretty cool character, and her presence merges into the main plot as well, which provides a little bit of excitement during the latter half of the film. So I like that character in that subplot, actually. Nice to see Ching-ying again here, but this time he plays a character who's more of a spiritual advisor and master, which is different from the gullible officer that we saw in the first film. He's far more helpful to our main protagonist in this one, saving his rear end on multiple occasions. Now, there are a few other action horror highlights to point out, and as you might expect, we get a mix of spellcasting tactics and martial arts. Get a fight between Sammo and his rival in public after they have an argument. This guy cannot fight, but he gets a monkey upgrade, I guess I could call it, that calls back to the remote control stuff from the prior film. Some nice acrobatics and hard-hitting strikes in that scene. There are a few confrontations with the lady ghost at night, one of which is an extended fight and involves a magical yo-yo, so that was good stuff. The main plot synopsis, though, everything I described at the opening really kicks into high gear around the midpoint. You have some subplots and stuff early on, but then the main conflict kicks into high gear with attacks from some nasty looking corpses with bulging eyeballs. Look like they're going to pop out of their skulls. And that scene is especially disgusting because they use actual cockroaches when filming it. It also ends in a very surprising way. So this film does do some things that kind of separates it from the first film, and individual scenes that make it memorable when you compare the two. One of the best scenes involves the wicked sorcerer, uses some impressively deceptive tactics involving the manipulation of human souls, witchcraft involving small animals, spirit blocking tactics, I guess I could describe them as, and I like how we get a bunch of different face-offs between the various human and otherworldly characters. You kind of mix and match them, and they go toe-to-toe with each other at various points. Definitely helps to add some variety. But yeah, the wicked sorcerer who kind of generates a lot of the conflicts, I liked his tactics in this one. And then you get the big finale, which is quite fun. And, I completely forgot that Colin Shu was in this. And Sammo gets a fight with him at the end, which is a nice scene. Some very good hand-to-hand combat in that. Pleasantly surprised with that one. I forgot about that scene. Legit fight. So the consensus opinion, if you read online, is that Encounter of the Spooky Kind 2 is not quite as good as the original film. And typically, critics would cite slightly less impressive fight choreography overall, and a premise that had been explored quite thoroughly by the end of the 1980s, whereas the original film kind of helped to set the trend. And those are all reasonable criticisms, I think, all good points, but I still enjoy this follow-up quite a bit. Still very creative when compared to most movies out there, just generally speaking, so I do recommend this. And if you watch the first one, you enjoy it, definitely check out the sequel. It's worth watching. Currently available streaming on archive.org. I'll leave a link in the description box below. To my knowledge, there's currently no English-friendly Blu-ray release of Part 2, Spooky Kind 2, but hopefully we get one someday because we got one with Part 1. And as always, I'll see you next time.